Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus, why are you looking like a winner?
You always look like a winner, Sal.
No, I really don't. Not on Friday. You saw that suit? But this one I do. Wiley Acho, my guy, always picking me up. Let's get to our top story. Trevor Lawrence is expected to be the #1 overall pick in next week's draft. But in a recent interview with Sports Illustrated, Lawrence said, quote, "It's not like I need football for my life to be okay." He added that he does not have a chip on his shoulder to prove critics wrong. This led to some people calling out his motivation. Lawrence responded, tweeting, quote, "It seems as if people are misreading my sentiment. I'm internally motivated. I love football as much or more than anyone. It is a huge priority in my life, obviously. I am driven to be the best I can be and to maximize my potential and to win. I have a lot of confidence in my work ethic. I love to grind and chase my goals. You can ask anyone who's been in my life. That being said, I am secure in who I am and what I believe. I don't need football to make me feel worthy as a person." So, Acho, do you feel worthy? I'm sorry. Do you like Trevor Lawrence responding to his critics over his dedication?
I don't like it, Sal. And it's not that I'm like, oh, Trevor Lawrence, what are you doing? But Trevor Lawrence, it's time for you to understand you are now evolving from a nice, good, star college quarterback to a #1 overall draft pick. It's a lot of star quarterbacks. And not all star quarterbacks are actually incredibly good quarterbacks, but if you play at a renowned college football program and you play at a relatively high level for a certain number of years, you're a star quarterback. But there's a difference between being a star college quarterback and a star NFL quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, you have to understand, you don't need to explain yourself once you've explained yourself, or you will constantly be explaining yourself.
I love that.
You feel me?
I did.
And that's not even Trevor Lawrence. That's relationally, that's occupationally, that's anything. Once you've explained yourself, you no longer need to keep explaining yourself, or you ain't never gonna stop explaining yourself. Trevor Lawrence came out and he said, "I love the game of football, but football does not necessarily define me. Like, I don't need it to make me happy." And we are now trying to pick that apart to the point where Trevor Lawrence is like, wait, let me clarify, guys. You don't need to, because some things don't need to be said. Trevor Lawrence, we watch your game, big dog. We know your game. We know how much you love the game because you showed it every Saturday when you went out there and balled, led your team to a national title as a true freshman. We know you love the game. We know you prepare for the game. So you don't need to explain anything to us. And I think, Sel, that when you become a NFL player, particularly a quarterback who has to save and rescue a franchise, things change. In college, you got about 111, 118 teams.
Hold on, which one? That's a random answer.
It's a lot. I think it's like 118.
111 or 118?
I think it's like 118. It depends. You know, some of you got your D1s, you got your D1s, double A's, you got your Columbia.
Hold on, you said, what do you mean? We won double A.
No, I don't count Columbia, though. Like, y'all out there, but y'all ain't really playing football. You know, y'all just out there moving. Y'all just out there.
Student athlete.
Y'all are student athlete, okay? In Texas, we athletes, and then students, okay? Don't worry about all that.
Wow.
It's 111 to 118.
Okay, shot fired.
7 are comprised of the Columbias of the world.
Don't clean up the shots, okay? Yellow tape the rope. Let's do this. We're going to war.
So the thing is, Trevor Lawrence, he could say that in college because attention's divided. People worried about USC, worried about UCLA, worried about Columbia, worried about Harvard, worried about Texas. There's only 32 teams in the NFL, big dog.
Say this.
So everything you say is going to be picked apart. Every word and sentence is going to be extrapolated so people can start to identify the meaning. Trevor Lawrence, don't worry about all that, okay? Lions, they don't mind the opinions of sheep. Trevor Lawrence, you're a lion now, big dog.
You are a lion. Went from a tiger to a lion. Look at that, Clemson. Respect. I echo a lot of what you are saying. I want to go next to it and hopefully grab the shovel and go deeper with it. With you, Acho. Trevor Lawrence, one, let me remind you who you are. You're going to be the #1 overall pick. What pick will all these critics, naysayers, haters, eggs on Twitter be? I don't know, but none of them going to be #1 overall pick. So don't stop down for these people in this moment and try to clarify who you are and what you mean. This is interesting because when he first came out with this statement, I knew he was going to have some backlash. And I hoped that he didn't come back with the clarification post to try and make all those who don't get it understand. But I trusted myself. I knew it. My impulses were right. Here we go, Trevor Lawrence. Let me tell you what's at play right here. One, the form in which you're talking through is social media. And social media has violated one of my grandmother's golden rules, which is, baby, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing.
Yes, sir.
You know why? Because all the left hand gonna be sitting there is talking trash about the right hand. And all the right hand's just trying to do is do what it wants to do. Do you, Trevor Lawrence? Who gives a damn what they're talking about? Because the proof is in the pudding. And boy, #1 overall pick, good ass pudding. All right, here we go. Who Trevor Lawrence is on full display for the world to see. Who cares what he's talking about? Who cares what his thought process is? And I tell you why you shouldn't care. Because this was a moment that even Trevor Lawrence, he messed up. Even everyone who criticized him certainly messed up because their lives are probably messed up in the first place to criticize Trevor Lawrence for thinking uniquely about his life. This is the moment. In our world, there's a narrative that exists on any and every topic. And there's conventional wisdom with that same narrative, right? No matter what the topic is. And with that conventional wisdom comes imprisonment. Okay. Like you are boxed in. Basically, you better go with this narrative. Oh, I'm on the river, going where everyone else is going, right? Or you say, hold on, dog. I'm going somewhere else. Or I'm thinking I want to go somewhere else. So Trevor Lawrence in this moment, #1 overall pick, is right to say, I got there a different way. Not the same, I eat and sleep football. Steak and potatoes, me. He said, football is my #1 priority, but I got other things that define who I am. This was a moment that he missed. And all of a sudden, this is what happens. And it happens all the time when you're a person that has different thoughts. You're a person who is a unique free thinker, like myself. They try to put an electric dog collar on you. Stay in the box, say what everyone else is saying, or else. And Trevor Lawrence said what he said. I'm the #1 overall pick, and I'm gonna go a different way. And instead of being the dog that I know Trevor Lawrence is, and say, ain't nothing gonna keep me in this yard, saying what y'all say, doing what y'all do, and keep roaming like he was in free thought, he came back to where they own now, not only his freedom in thought, but also his words. So Trevor Lawrence, I know you're 21, so I'm not even condemning you. I'm just trying to help you, bro. Do what you got to do as long as your results speak for themselves.
He came back, Sal, with the dog collar, but he didn't at the same time. But you on to something, so let's go there.
He did?
Trevor Lawrence he's wrestling with this, bruh. You got to understand you can't please all people all the time.
All the time.
You either please some people all the time, all people some of the time, but you can't please all people all the time. That's not a part of the equation. And so Trevor Lawrence was looking like, wait a second. He didn't want to say what he wanted to say with his chest. The fact of the matter is we know what about Trevor Lawrence. He comes from a very religious, devout religious family, a strong Christian family based upon my research. Trevor Lawrence has said, in all honesty, football is not necessarily the most important thing in his life.
Let's go.
His faith is. However, when fans hear that, it's like, wait a second. We gonna pay you all this money? You the #1 overall pick? Football needs to be the most important thing to you. Think about it, Sal, like we praise and we glorify the Mamba mentality. But we don't really praise living like a well-rounded lifestyle. Right? Like we praise and we glorify the person who overcame, the person who faced the adversity, the person who went from Compton, went to Columbia, played for 10 years, hosting his own show. But like the person who didn't have to struggle, but still just kind of succeeded, is not as sexy a story as the story of the overcomer. So Trevor Lawrence is kind of like, nah, I don't have a big chip on my shoulder. I was the #1 recruit coming out of high school. My dad in 8th grade paid for me to have a quarterback guru coach. So then I'm in 8th grade with a quarterback coach, #1 recruit out of high school, go to the #1 program. We stay the #1 program. I leave the #1 player. I don't really got a big chip on my shoulder. I'm just a baller, haven't had that difficult of a life. At least that's not what the story says. And I'm out here doing my thing.
Killing it.
Football is a priority for me, but it's not the most important thing in my life. My faith is. Even Trevor Lawrence, though, Sal, he tried to sprinkle it in at the end. He said, I'm a firm believer in the fact that there is a plan for my life, and I'm called to be the best at whatever I am doing. Fans, pay attention, y'all. It don't matter what a player's motivation is as he has a motivation. Trevor Lawrence is saying, I'm called to be the best at what I'm doing. Who's the I'm that has called him based upon reading between the lines? I would believe it's a religious and a spiritual conviction. He's called. I'm a firm believer in the fact that there is a plan for my life. I'm called to be the best at what I'm doing. He don't need to go get it because he got to get his family out the hood. He don't need to go get it because he has to persevere and save all those from where he was coming from. He's just trying to say, like, hey, I'm going to go get it, but it's not going to be the super sexy overcoming story that has a big chip on his shoulder because I was overlooked. I was never overlooked. I was 6'5", and I've always been touted as the top dude. And I'm going to keep balling because that's what I'm called to do. So unfortunately, that doesn't sell. And now, to your point, he had to go back on his words and, wait, I love football, I promise y'all. But the fact of the matter is, we really shouldn't have condemned him in the first place.
No, we shouldn't. But he also shouldn't listen to that condemnation and respond to it because guess what? You ain't got to tell nobody who you are. Show them. And then when you show them, the only explanation needed is, oh, let me echo what I already think that led to that same action that you're applauding. He's 34-2 as a starter. His coach said he's the greatest winner he's ever been around. What the hell I need to tell you how I got there? And it's funny because even you, it sounds like, is giving a little credit to the mob or those who think you need to tell me an adverse story or else it's not as good. Shut up. People always ask me in an interview, Marcellus, if you had to do it all over again, would you have grew up the same way you grew up and through all those humble beginnings and adversity? And I always say, hell no. Welcome to my life now. My kids ain't going through none of that stuff. And they still gonna find the inner motivation and drive to be hungry. Stop acting like hunger comes from circumstances. Trust me, more people fail in adverse circumstances than win. I didn't like when you said, well, he went in the 8th grade to this personal coach and that's part of why he's so great. You know how many guys that coached that didn't make it, that ain't the #1 overall pick? Like, the rich get richer because once you get momentum, man, it's easier, not guaranteed, easier than just trying to start from scratch. Trevor Lawrence, you are a beast so far. What's next? We'll see. But to try to explain yourself, that's where I got a problem. 2, don't prioritize no damn fans over your soul, over whatever you believe in. Like, if I tell you, Acho, I don't give a damn about football, but I'm a beast. And then you say, what can you say to me? Football is the result of my mindset. You don't need to try and convict my mindset when my actions already give you conviction.
But let's be real, Sal, because
that was real.
Sometimes we can come up here and we can talk having been removed from the game and not having the same things on the line. But when I say let's be real, I mean this. Trevor Lawrence got a lot of dollars on the line. He got a lot of endorsement dollars on the line. Clearly, he's going to be the #1 draft pick, but in theory, he still has to get the fan base behind him. And in theory, he has a lot of money on the line, although, again, we all know he's likely going to be the #1 pick. You have to say certain things in his position so these checks cash.
You do?
I remember.
You do?
Yes.
No,
I'm not going to lie. Here's why. My dog, Earl Thomas. We played together in college. Earl Thomas, probably future Hall of Fame safety. Obviously, he's had some run-ins as of late the last 24 years. But, like,
you know, these Hall of Fame voters tripping up here.
They do be tripping.
They might hold that against.
So Earl Thomas, he's 1 year above me at Texas. We go back to when we were 17, 18 years old. I remember one time Earl got dreads, started growing his dreads in college, so keeps getting dreaded all the way till he's out with the Seahawks. Dude had dreads his first couple of years in the league. One day I look up, why you cut your dreads off? So I hit Earl's team. I'm like, hey, why you cut his dreads? And he was like, had to be more marketable. I'm like, but the dreads was Earl. Dude would get a pick, shake the dreads, and like that was him. But he did that not necessarily because he wanted to do that. He did that because he had to be more marketable. Being more marketable is making more money. So the reason I will excuse Trevor Lawrence, like I would excuse Earl Thomas, because in theory, you're compromising your own integrity for the sake of the fans. Trevor Lawrence compromising this or that for the sake of the fans. I say, let's be real, Sal, because I'm like, the real is, Trevor Lawrence is like, man, I'm not going to have y'all feeling some type of way about me before I take a snap in Jacksonville. I'm not going to have y'all questioning my dedication to the game before I even say down, set, hut. I'm not going to have y'all doing all that.
Hey, let them question. Because they can't question results, but they always gonna criticize results. They talk trash about Tom Brady. Sucker done won 7 Super Bowls. You can add up 6 great Hall of Fame quarterbacks plus grab a next one, and they still ain't got what Brady got. And they still take shots at him. In Trevor Lawrence's world and language, they even crucified Jesus. So guess what, Trevor Lawrence? You ain't gonna never satisfy these fools. Let's say this. I hated that story about Earl Thomas because I hated it when it happened to my draft class as well. 1997, forget Earl Thomas and his young ass. Let's talk about 1997 OGs like myself. O.J. Santiago, you probably don't know the name, tight end, played for Atlanta, had a little run, a little stretch in there. Cut his dreads in our draft combine workouts as well. Same reason. This is probably 10 years before Earl Thomas. Same damn reason. He was, well, I got to be more marketable. You know, they're going to hurt me and all that. Now you look look around, if you ain't got dreads, there's a problem. You ain't a baller, dog. Why you got a clean cut? I give you this example. And this is what Trevor Lawrence missed. For every guy that was coming up from the hood and adversity and from the bottom, and then I'm the man, there was a Grant Hill, clean cut, second generation wealth, second generation professional athlete, and was as marketable as they come. Only thing that undermined him was his injury. Stop playing. So if you want to convict yourself for free thought, like myself, like others, then guess what? There's a marketplace for you. But the problem is everybody got their electric dog collar on and going right back to some place that is not authentic and genuine. So let me give you this last thing. Don't go mob mentality. Don't go, I got to say the meat potato with the Clemson. Don't do that. Do what you want to do. And I know, and you got to trust that something's going to be there for you because the results are going to open up those doors.
But Sal, you can do, okay. Let's start results first. Let's talk results first because you're bringing up a good point. If you give people a reason, any sort of excuse, I promise you they're going to come back and use it against you.
Oh, of course.
Kevin Durant, firing people up on Twitter last week. Fire them up.
People.
But then he goes...
What do you mean people? You got names? Coach always said names and numbers. I don't want to hear about people.
I will not put an address on the statement, so it might get lost in the mail. Kevin Durant is out here firing people up on Twitter, but then he goes and drops buckets. But if KD, instead of shooting, I think he shot like 11 for 15, had 31 points in like 3 quarters that day after firing people up on Twitter. If he goes 0 for 11, all of a sudden, the narrative is going to be, oh, well, he was distracted before the game. Clearly he wasn't, because he went out there and balled. So the excuse would have just simply been, oh, he was distracted. Because we need to find some sort of reason for you being sorry. So if Trevor Lawrence comes out his rookie year and struggles, first game struggles, preseason struggles, well, y'all remember Sports Illustrated, you said he wasn't that dedicated. Like, y'all remember, he's not really that dedicated of a dude. So what Trevor Lawrence is trying to do, at least it appears he's trying to do, is let me nip this in the bud. I'm not even going to have y'all misinterpreting nothing. Let me nip this because I don't want to give y'all an excuse as to, oh, well, Trevor Lawrence, he said he wasn't that dedicated. So now the interception he threw wasn't simply because the defense confused him. It wasn't simply because he made a bad error as a rookie. Now it's because he wasn't that dedicated. And the last thing I'll say is, Big Dog, it's not like Trevor Lawrence is really compromising his integrity or his soul. I just think he's speaking in code. He said, he literally ended his tweet. I'm a firm believer in the fact that there's a plan for my life, and I'm called to be the best at whatever it is I am doing. That is a verse. He ain't saying it's a verse. He's not quoting Colossians, but he's quoting it without telling y'all where he's coming from. So he ain't really compromising nothing. He's just saying, hey, I'ma still stick to who I am, but at the same time, y'all not gonna be mad at who I am. I'ma take the seasoning off the food so y'all can digest it. That's what Trevor Lawrence is doing. You can keep it spicy. You can. But Trevor Lawrence is just like, let me take some of this off so y'all can digest it as I live my life.
Come on, man. Let's go back to the Bible.
Go back to it.
What does it say? As a man thinketh, so is he?
So is he.
Right?
Yeah. Talk to me.
What if the crowd was like, I don't care what you think? And he was like, well, as a man kind of think, like, so I might be. The hell? Like, Trevor Lawrence, I want to hear your code. Here's the problem. Peyton Manning owned the mantra of being the hardest worker. Whether he put it out there and professed it himself or it just was attached to him. Peyton Manning, you couldn't work harder than Peyton Manning in mantra, everyone said, correct? How did Peyton Manning look his rookie year? 28 interceptions.
Terrible.
Do we care that we got a story to attach to 28 picks? Like, Trevor, you're going to dive in the weeds so far that you're going to be like, I want to explain all of my interceptions. Ain't no explanation, dog. Even the hardest worker, Peyton Manning, threw 28 of them bad boys. So please, in life, y'all, do not give in to the narrative. So just right now, bow down to the numbers. And so far, in everything I've seen from Trevor Lawrence, ain't nothing but numbers. Coming up, Justin Fields will also be a high draft pick. This is going to get spicy, but we'll tell you if he's being unfairly criticized. But first, Tom Brady says he's progressing from knee surgery. We'll tell you if Father Time will impact the GOAT next on Speak for Yourself. Wow.
Tom Brady got to celebrate his 7th Super Bowl win with off-season knee surgery. Brady said he is making, quote, good progress, close quote, in his rehab, and added that he does not know if he could go this week, but he's hopeful he can play in June's minicamp. By the way, The GOAT will be 44 years old when next season begins. So, Marcellus, how will Father Time impact Tom Brady?
It won't. Father Time impact Tom Brady? It won't. And look at your face over there. It sounds like you're praying for his downfall, like you over there rooting. Fall off, Tom Brady, Tom Brady. Father Time doesn't know Tom Brady like many households around this world right now. The father's absent. Oh, Father Time is gone out the NFL like he used to be. See, this is not your NFL. This is not my NFL. This is today's NFL. And Acho, we stay in touch and in tune with a lot of players. It's different. Let me tell you why players are playing longer than ever. Let me tell you why Father Time doesn't know who Tom Brady is. Because of the conditions, because of the NFL saying, you know what, we got it. Y'all caught us. You know, back in the days, the NFL, oh, you can't hit them that hard, but we're going to make a highlight video of it and market it. You know, changing the target area, concussion, CTE, et cetera, whatever. NFL's addressed that. And I can tell you why I know this. Not from watching the game, not from being on the sidelines. And you ever go to an NFL game as a retired player? Have you been on the sidelines since you retired? Yes or no?
Once, Cowboys game.
Okay, so you're going to know what I'm talking about. Woo! For y'all fans out there who have never played in the NFL or been on the sideline, this is not me high-signing and saying I'm better than you. It's like going on the 405 without a car. It's like just standing right there. You're like, dog, the backups run out. Hey, what's up, Wiley? Wow. I'm like, yo, what was that? You're not even going to play, so you're not even the best test of the power. I'm saying all this because the conditions have changed. I went to the Chargers camp right before the pandemic and talked to veteran after veteran, and they were like, dog, you messed up, Wiley. You retired too soon, but it's not your fault. Your birth certificate did you wrong. You were born too soon. It's a different NFL. So the impact, not only in technology, mindset, and culture, but conditions, is going to allow players to play longer. So lose all of those historical stats of no quarterback over 40 has done X, Y, and Z, because these guys are going to shatter that glass ceiling. Let me talk about Father Time, because he used to have the impact. He used to live with his kids. In my era and before me, Father was present. He was like, are you 30? Come on. It's time to retire. Daddy, I ain't do it. Yes, you did. You did turn 30. No more. It's a different animal, man. So at 44 years young, he will be a Super Bowl favorite. I'm just telling you, man, get rid of all of those old preconceived notions about age and stop using ageism, because Tom Brady doesn't even know who Father Time is.
I loved all that. Okay. I did. I'd give you a standing ovation if my mic wasn't buckling me down to the chair. Marcellus, I fervently believe in this quote.
What?
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
I love you too.
Unfortunately, the truth is about to get in the way of your great story. Father Time is going to impact Tom Brady.
I don't know his daddy.
Father Time impacted Tom Brady last year in reality, but in story form, it didn't. Ooh. What I mean? In reality, Ben Roethlisberger, he fell off the hill. After week 11, he drastically declined. The Steelers started off 11-0. They go on to lose 3 out of their next 4, whatever the case may be, games. Ben Roethlisberger is getting old. But wait a second. Tom Brady, his last 4 games, he declined drastically as well, if you look at it. Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, their last 4 games. Tom Brady's completion percentage, 58%. Mind you, Tom Brady's in the regular season was 66%. Games under 57% completion percentage. Tom Brady, 3 of them. Remember in the playoffs, Tom Brady, 55% completion percentage against Washington, then a 54% completion percentage against the Saints, then a 55% completion percentage against the Packers. Tom Brady was declining, but what was the pivotal difference? The Steelers' defense kept Ben Roethlisberger in decline by narrative form, but the Buccaneers' defense kept Tom Brady from declining. Why? Because Tom Brady in his last 4 games was 4-0. Ben Roethlisberger in his last 4 games was 1-3. The decline was there in real form, but in narrative form it wasn't, because as long as Tom Brady's winning, Tom Brady's not declining. But the numbers said he declined. So we've rarely, if ever, seen Tom Brady have 3 consecutive games with a completion percentage at 55% or below. But we ignored it because they won. We always ignore errors typically when you win. I'm going to drop the hammer one more way. Y'all don't bring it up yet. Let me talk through the narrative of it all.
Chill on this hammer.
Peyton Manning goes to Denver there for 4 years, 2 Super Bowls in those 4 years. The greatest offense we've really seen since the turn of the century. If y'all weren't there, I was.
What?
When he had 55 touchdowns.
Better than the St. Louis Rams?
Yes, sir. Statistically.
No, he balled more than Kurt Warner,
You
baby.
can talk about appreciation, but statistically, how many points they scored, that offense
I ain't seen no Marshall Faulk out there.
crazy.
I ain't seen no, okay.
So that
Four
offense,
Hall of Famers.
that offense grows crazy statistically, right?
Okay, I'm listening, though.
But then 2 years later, Peyton Manning, he gets benched for Brock Osweiler. He ends up retiring, only throws 9 touchdowns and 17 picks. We like, yo, Peyton Manning fell off a hill out of nowhere. Not true. 2013, Peyton Manning throws 55 touchdowns. 2014, he only throws 39, Sel. 2013, Peyton Manning throws 10 interceptions. 2014, he throws 15 interceptions. The decline had already started in 2014 because, Sel, there's a 30% decrease from 55 touchdowns to 39 touchdowns. It's a 50% increase from 10 interceptions to 15 interceptions. We just didn't pay no attention to the decline. Number one, because they were 12-4. And number two, because, yo, you declined from the heavens, so you're still really good.
There you go.
But the decline was present. My point is this. We can all sit here and say Father Time won't affect Tom Brady. Father Time affected Tom Brady last year. They just still won. So we don't let the truth speak. Instead, we live with the narrative. Sounds great, but the truth is the truth.
Man, hey, look, the best comeback you could with what you were dealing with and what you were working with right there. I'm not mad. I'm not mad, but I just think that you, like most people who have come from two-parent households like you, think that that's the way it is. Like everybody. There was an awakening for you one day when you realized, you don't know your daddy? Oh, you don't know your daddy either? Damn, Big Mama is just the only person raising you? Like, you know why? Because it ain't like that for everybody. Father Time doesn't come to everybody's house. Everybody ain't got their daddy there.
He was there, though.
No.
He was there.
Peyton Manning.
You can't deny.
I can't
deny what? Tom Brady in the playoffs, he drastically fell off. Passer rating decreased. Completion percentage decreased. Statistically, he fell off.
Oh, let me give you this. Go track and field. It's time. My coach used to always talk about, you want to see how someone's training is going to impact their season? Don't watch the beginning of the season. Watch the end. Right?
Yep.
So track season, February, something. Oh, if you didn't train like you're supposed to train before the season, it ain't going to show up necessarily in February as much as it's going to show up in June, July, and August when it matters most. And you're talking about Tom Brady looking like he fell off. All you saw was no continuity, him still working on the game plan, them trying to figure it out. They didn't maximize their offense last year and still won the Super Bowl, dog. They just made one great correction to what they were already trying to figure out. That's how they won the Super Bowl. This year, watch these boys from hello. Ain't gonna be no Saints Week 1 game to these Tom Brady Buccaneers. They are coming out swinging. Here, that was your point. I ain't even want to go there. Here's the point. Tom Brady's heard this before. Father Time was supposed to be knocking on Tom Brady's door. Daddy was supposed to show up when he was 37. You remember that? 2014. That's why Belichick drafted Jimmy G. 2014. Tom Brady, 37. What's happened since 2014? 82 wins. No quarterback has more wins than Tom Brady. Thought Father Time was showing up. Thought Daddy was home. Tom Brady has a better completion percentage than Aaron Rodgers since 2014. Since Daddy's supposed to show up, Tom Brady is better than Aaron Rodgers in a very important statistic. Only Aaron Rodgers has more passing touchdowns than Tom Brady since he was supposed to fall off the cliff. We ain't gonna talk about what? The 2 Super Bowl wins, the MVP, since he was supposed to meet his daddy. It's not happening, bro. Not on the calendar that you're subscribing to. Everything you are going to show me in metrics, everything you're going to show me in statistics is outdated. If I were playing today, not only would I have played better, I would have played longer. It's just the way it goes. Welcome to human society. It has evolved, and it has gotten better.
The issue at hand is very simple. The issue is, if you just look at data from last year, I'm not trying to, Marcellus, speak of data historically. I'm saying we literally saw Tom Brady. Yes, collectively, they were Super Bowl champs. Collectively, they were. But we literally saw Tom Brady. You saw him against the Green Bay Packers, throw 3 picks. You saw Tom Brady against the Packers in the NFC Championship game struggle. Remember, this season, there's a chance that Tom Brady has to play 21 games. Last year, he played 20. He'd never played more than 19. I'm not saying that Tom Brady is not going to win a Super Bowl next year. I'm just saying, if you look, you will see an impact of Father Time. How great's the impact? I don't know. I think the Buccaneers should still be Super Bowl favorites. But if you just look last year, Tom Brady began to decline at the end of the year.
Last year, decline, end of the year. Who's the best player in the NFL? This is coming from upstairs. Patrick Mahomes, most people would want to say.
You could argue.
I'll say Aaron Donald. No, I am going to say Aaron Donald. Don't you hit me. Oh, he didn't even do that, too. That was a crazy story.
That's scary.
Scary story. Money grabber. Anyway, it's Patrick Mahomes, most people would say, right?
Most people would argue that.
Or
Aaron Rodgers.
How'd that turn out at the end of the season for both of those guys against this old-ass man, Tom Brady? Look at your face. I saw this change. Blah, blah. That's how it goes. Let's talk about Tom Brady since age 43. Because you don't like...
But that's a... You're telling me about those guys versus the defense.
Come on. This is Tom Brady last year. First player ever 50-plus passing touchdowns and win the Super Bowl in the same season. He's fallen off. You're right. From week 13, since that ain't good enough his whole season, let's just go week 13. Led the NFL in passing yards and passing touchdowns. He's falling off. Dog, third most passing yards in the NFL.
Most games.
Dog, third most passing yards in the NFL.
He played the most games.
Okay, third most passing yards in the NFL. That's falling off. Okay. Second most passing touchdowns in the NFL. That's falling off. Dog, I don't know where you are, and I understand you want to hold on to yesterday. You still probably watch Scooby-Doo right now. But you know what? They got different cartoons, bro. Move on.
Sir, compare the regular season to the postseason. I'm not looking at Tom Brady's whole body of work.
Are you listening to me?
We looked at Ben Roethlisberger, and we saw it. He fell off the cliff.
That is
because what he did from week 11
Ben met his daddy.
and what he did
He finally met Father Time.
We are looking at Tom Brady. Look at Tom Brady through the regular season. 65% completion percentage. Postseason, 58% completion percentage. Passer rating, 102 regular season. Passer rating, 98 postseason. Look at Tom Brady in the regular season.
Horrible.
Look at Tom. I'm not saying it's bad, but that
ain't mean his daddy bad.
You're doing what we did to Peyton Manning in 2014. Oh, we still look pretty good 55? Because of how great he was. Just remember, if you look closely, you will start to see the decline. Put your glasses on. You're getting old.
Don't look close then.
Coming up, Kevin Durant is out again. We'll tell you if that means trouble is looming in Brooklyn without KD. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Can't talk to you about Monday on Fox, the NASCAR Cup Series heads to Talladega Super Speedway for the Geico 500. High-speed action starts Sunday at 2 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Let's head to Brooklyn, where Kevin Durant had to leave Sunday's game in a loss to the Heat in the first quarter with a left thigh contusion. KD has already missed 33 games due to injuries this season, and he's only played 7 games with James Harden and Kyrie Irving in the lineup at the same damn time this year. We're joined by Fox NBA analyst Slick Rick the Bucher. But Acho, is trouble looming for the Nets after losing KD again?
Yes, sir. Trouble is looming. And fellas, I've learned this, I've heard this, that you are no, let me say it like this.
Good, you didn't hear that.
Like, rewind. So you can teach me this joint. And people say you don't change once you get married, right? Like, if you're dating somebody, when they get married, they are still going to be exactly who they were while you all were dating. Like, they're not all of a sudden going to change into the better person that you always hoped that they would be. They are who you thought they were. If that stands and rings true, then I often wonder, are the Nets exactly who we think they are, and they're not going to change when they get to the playoffs? They are who we think they are. So who are they? An incredibly talented team with 3 bona fide superstars. But Kevin Durant, oft injured, played 25 games in the last 700 days. Kyrie Irving, incredibly aloof. And James Harden, he's just a stud. He's just a dude. But if the one superstar who you can depend on if you are the Brooklyn Nets, James Harden, if that's the one you can depend on, that's also the one who chokes in the playoffs.
Oh, don't do that.
Because that's the one who in 2015 in elimination game went 2 for 11 from the field. That's the one who in 2017 in an elimination game went 2 for 11 from the field. That's the one in 2018 in an elimination game went 2 for 13 from 3 in a game where the Rockets missed 27 consecutive threes, a series they were up 3-2 and ended up losing. So, if the Brooklyn Nets are going to be in the playoffs, who they are in the regular season, that is great that you have 3 superstars. But one superstar in KD is not present because of injury. Another superstar in Kyrie is not present because of mental. And your other superstar who you actually can depend on has a propensity to disappear in the playoffs when it matters most. And for that reason, Nets fans have to be at least a little bit concerned.
Yeah, trouble is looming not only for the Nets, but I suspect for our friend Marcellus Wiley. But I'll allow him to present his own argument. We've been talking about it all year long when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets, how powerful those big three are offensively, and the question remaining, how good can they be defensively? Because to this point, they have not been very good. I keep hearing about how they're getting slowly better and they're rising up. They're still 19th overall in defensive efficiency. But look, I am an open-minded person. I am willing to accept that things can change. But here's the rub on that. The one guy among their three superstars who could change the formula and the equation when it comes to their defense is Kevin Durant, because he's the one guy who has demonstrated that he can play championship-level defense. I'm going to play a little game of Did You Know with you right now. Did you know that Kevin Durant, in the 2 years that he won championships with the Golden State Warriors, was their best shot blocker? Did you know that in the 2 years that they won championships, he was either their first or their second best rebounder? You take him out of the equation. Oh, there is. I take that back. There's one more. Did you know that with LaMarcus Aldridge retiring, Kevin Durant is the best shot blocker, at least in terms of being prolific, on this Brooklyn Nets team? So if you want me to believe that the Brooklyn Nets are going to be a better defensive team when the playoff light goes on, then they have to have Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant's availability this year has been suspect all season long, and this is the latest evidence. So yes, trouble is looming for the Nets. The question is, Marcellus, is it looming for you as well?
The hell show are we on? I know, speak for yourself, but this ain't NBA Live. Stop talking about all these X's and O's. Let me tell you about the I's and U's. Yes, I've trademarked that, so don't try and steal it. No, trouble's not looming for the Nets after losing KD again. Let me tell you why. One, let's just frame this properly. This ain't nothing but the new load management, y'all. Y'all getting suckered. These players are not as hurt as they're advertising. This is flopping in the training room, because we used to see a lot of flopping on the court. So in my day, I told Acho about this before, and I tell you, Slick Rick, when I ain't want to go get it in practice, not games, because we had too few games, but in practice, hamstring. You can't check that out and tell me that it doesn't hurt. Back, hello, good luck with that one too, coach and training staff. General soreness, man, I'm just fatigued, coach. If KD would have got hurt in a playoff game with this thigh contusion, you know what he would have said? I'm good. But he knows the circumstances.
Don't do that.
Why would he want to go out there and fatigue himself in this moment right now? I'm going to tell you just like this.
I believe in that.
This is in response to the NBA clamping down on load management. Hey, we need y'all playing on nationally televised games. Hey, we need you guys always out there and no more of this load management. Players are creative. Players are smart. That's just my framework. So the old tendinitis of the yesterday's NBA, remember everybody had tendinitis? Nobody has it now. Only one person got tendinosis, and that's AD. And look how long AD been out with that tendinosis. Wink, wink. My point is, Kevin Durant, ain't nothing wrong with him. Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets, nothing wrong with them. Let me remind you also, since y'all want to have a little NBA Live show, that there are teams in history that have missed their star player and still went out there and won a championship. Let's talk about those Bulls. Remember, 98? Pippen missed 35 games after off-season foot surgery. Didn't slow them down. 2012 Heat. Let's bring it a little more recent.
He reaches.
Chris Bosh missed 9 games in the playoffs. How'd that work out for him? Okay, 2020 Lakers. Rondo. And don't laugh at Rondo. One, he's a Clipper now. But two, that boy was important in the playoffs in the bubble. How'd that turn out when he missed those final 8 bubble games and then still showed up? The point is,
what's the point?
The Nets are winking at the NBA, and they're going to get the last laugh come playoff time. Trust.
Sal, you know why I don't eat meatloaf? I don't eat meatloaf because I don't know what's in it. People, when they make meatloaf, they start putting all types of random stuff in it, and they expect you to eat it.
You ain't never
That's
lied.
what you did with your argument.
No, it's
You
called
said,
gumbo.
I'm going to grab a little bit of this nonsense. I'm going to grab a little bit of that nonsense. I'm going to grab a little bit of that nonsense.
Pretty poetic.
I'm going to sprinkle this in it, sprinkle a little
What is
bit
that,
of
Salt Bae?
a pinch of intelligence,
Salt Bae.
and you expected me and Slick to be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Why not?
Slick, I'm as confused as you are.
It didn't even taste good.
It didn't taste good at all. I'm as confused as you are, Slick. So let me bring this back in, okay?
Good to me, homie.
With the meal that's edible.
Eat your cornbread.
So,
What?
Let me tell you what KD's not going to do.
What he not gonna do?
If KD gets injured in the playoffs like he did against the Miami Heat, you want to know what Kevin Durant's not going to do? Rush back from the injury. Because you want to know what put Kevin Durant out for an entire season? Rushing back from an injury in the playoffs. So what we can all at least decide on, this three of us here sitting on the show, is that
like that.
if KD were to get hurt, the one thing we all know he's not going to do is rush back from the injury. Furthermore, maximum amount of games it takes to win just one playoff series. Mind you, to win a championship, you have to win 4. But the maximum amount of games it takes to win just one playoff series is 7. Y'all want to know how many games the big three have played together? Kyrie, KD, and Harden?
What?
7. So it's going to take you 7 games to win one series. You got to win 4 to win a chip. And the big three have played just 7 together. And lastly, Sells, I look at it all. The Nets right now is the 2 seed. 7 seed is currently the Miami Heat, the same Miami Heat that just beat them, the same Miami Heat that were in the NBA Finals last year, the same Miami Heat that actually have a great, credible head coach, proven head coach who knows how to win games. We all talking this radical talk because it sounds great. But let these Nets run into the Heat round 1 and let Kyrie and KD keep acting up and acting out and getting hurt. Hey, it's not going to go like we all thought or like we even think.
Excellent point, Sato. You didn't take that Miami Heat point far enough, though. Because how did they just lose to the Miami Heat? They just lost to the Miami Heat by getting outscored 8-0 in the final 3.5 minutes. Now, this is supposedly a Nets team that when they want to play defense, they can ratchet it up and actually get it done. But what the Heat demonstrated is, no, you have to be able to do it, and you need to be able to do it at the right times when the game is on the line. They weren't able to do that. And look, Celis, this idea that you're going to compare them to the Lakers and the Bulls and all these teams that have actually done something together at some point and spent a great deal of time. You're going to compare Rajon Rondo to Kevin Durant in terms of the meaning to their particular teams. Or this Nets team to a Bulls team that had already won 5 championships before they got to that last year and Scottie Pippen misses games because of injury. That, my friend, is false equivalence. You can't do that. The Nets need some games together to demonstrate that they have the synchronicity and the communication and the chemistry at the defensive end. If I or anybody else is to believe that they're capable of playing championship-level defense. They simply haven't had that, and by the looks of it, they're not going to get it. And look, Marcellus, I understand this because this reminds me of, I bought these expensive pair of shoes. I just loved them. I loved them in the window, and I was like, man, these are awesome. They feel so good. And I kept trying to figure out what can I wear what can I wear them with? I invested in them. I gotta find a way to use them. I gotta style them. And I tried, and and ultimately I realized, you know what?
What?
Those shoes just don't work. They just don't work. That's you and the Brooklyn Nets right now. You are clinging to the idea that they are the best team in the Eastern Conference. And we keep getting all this evidence that, you know what? This ain't working out. There's nothing that fits quite right here. And you're hanging on. I'm telling you, man, let go of the shoes. Let go of the Brooklyn Nets. It's okay. It's okay.
I ain't let go of the shoes. What Spike Lee and them say? It gotta be the shoes. It gotta be the shoes. Trust me. Y'all making my point for me. And I knew y'all get distracted, detoured, and then dive into that ditch and say, I'm safe. And I'm like, yeah, you're safe. Stuck down there. Here comes the dirt on top of y'all heads. Here's the problem. They're the number 2 seed in the East. And they've only played 7 games together. Good Lord. So in life, especially in sports, you're judged by your competition. And y'all don't like to play the game in life. I do. I'm competitive as hell mentally. Everything I do is competition. Now, let's talk about the real competition. Eastern Conference. Ain't nobody out there scared of any other team. Think about this. The win percentage of all the other Eastern Conference teams is .564. Yuck. That's barely above 500. 2 of the 7 other Eastern Conference playoff teams are just 5 games above 500. Yuck. Who has the best record in the East versus teams above 500. This Brooklyn team. So my point is really simple. They're out there jogging. Everyone else is out there running full speed, and they're still right where they want to be. Just sitting there right behind the leader, letting it draft, making it easy on them. You take all the win. I'll just be coasting, waiting for that finish line where I'll pass you. And don't even talk about the West. I love my Clippers, and I like the Lakers a lot. But them Lakers been beat up this year as well. So 2 beat-up teams that potentially can meet in the finals, and y'all going to take the Lakers over this squad with this star power? Boy, stop. Coming up, Justin Fields could be a top 3 pick in the draft. Who will tell you if he's been unfairly criticized? That's next. Don't speak for yourself. What kind of shoes, though, Slick? You're watching Speak for Yourself. Amazing take still. My Mount Rushmore right there. And the other 3 are mine. Marcel Swati, Wiley Acho. Let's get into the NFL draft, where Justin Fields could be the number 3 pick by the 49ers next week. But he's still facing a lot of criticism. Our own Bucky Brooks said Fields could be the most polarizing quarterback in the draft. He added that Fields has been put through the ringer in recent weeks, and he finds the growing skepticism, quote, completely baffling. Oh, Bucky joins us now, but Acho, is Justin Fields being unfairly criticized?
Justin Fields is absolutely being unfairly criticized, but to decide what is unfair criticism, we have to figure out what is fair criticism.
All right.
When I look at the criticisms of Justin Fields, primarily, well, Ohio State hasn't put out any great quarterbacks. So let's look at his competition. Alabama, the greatest quarterback that they've put out in their recent run, their 6 national titles under Nick Saban, he was last year fighting against Ryan Fitzpatrick to be a starter. So what quarterbacks has Alabama put out? The other criticism we hear about Justin Fields is he can't process defenses. But Justin Fields, through the regular season of his sophomore year, 40 touchdowns, 1 interception. So someone has to explain to me what is processing a defense look like if 40 passing touchdowns to 1 interception is not processing a defense. But the greatest criticism as of late of Justin Fields is his off the field and character concerns. Now, mind you, Justin Fields, like Mac Jones, started their college careers as backup quarterbacks. Now, Justin Fields was a backup quarterback, no off the field issues that we heard of. Justin Fields clearly took the weight room seriously at 6'3", 224 pounds, running a 4.41. Conversely, Mac Jones started his college career as a backup. If you look at Mac Jones, it looks like he's about to start his detox program, whereas Justin Fields has completed his. And Mac Jones, when he was a backup his freshman year, actually got in a DUI, a 2-car accident he got in while driving under the influence. Now, Justin Fields and Mac Jones both may start their careers as backup quarterbacks, at least for a heartbeat, as they get ready to become a starter. If you've seen Justin Fields as a backup and see what he did and didn't get in trouble, then you see Mac Jones as a backup during his start of his career freshman year at Alabama, and he got a DUI. There wasn't criticism for Mac Jones. However, we've seen the criticism for Justin Fields as far as his off-the-field concerns and does he love the game. So if you're talking about unfair criticism, we have to look at what is fair criticism. And the criticism that other quarterbacks like Mac Jones are getting or are not getting, it does not draw a parallel to the criticism that Justin Fields has gotten. As a result, Justin Fields definitely been unfairly criticized.
Yeah, Acho, I agree with you. Like, when I look at this, I really can't understand it, because when else would we take a quarterback that's 6'3", 225 pounds, runs a 4.40, has been on the big stage and really played well on the big stage, and we're talking about him as if he shouldn't be included in the first-round conversation? Is baffling to me. And when I think about Trevor Lawrence, who has been widely hailed as the number 1 recruit or the number 1 quarterback in this class, I think it's important to go back and understand how we started. We started with Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence being viewed as 1A and 1B respectively in high school. We then go to college and we see those guys play up to the height at their respective institutions. First with Trevor Lawrence leading Clemson to the national championship and 2 other postseason appearances, but Justin Fields going from Georgia to leading Ohio State to back-to-back playoff appearances. Then when we see number 1, Trevor Lawrence, take the field against, I guess, 1A, 1B, Justin Fields outplayed in both games. And so I can't understand the narratives that have been swelling around Justin Fields. Maybe it's just a situation where we talk about comic book characters. We have to have a hero and we have to have a villain. And for whatever reason, Justin Fields is viewed as the villain, whereas we are letting Zach Wilson and Mac Jones, and even Trey Lance to a lesser degree skate. I don't understand how Justin Fields, a guy who has seemingly done all of the right things, has been targeted as the quarterback that has all of these issues when none of those issues have really come up and festered.
Oh, man, I disagree with you guys right here. One criticism is the cost of praise. So we're going to praise all these quarterbacks, and we're going to have some critiques of all these quarterbacks, including Trevor Lawrence. But let's talk about this situation and frame it properly. Yeah, he's being criticized like they all are getting criticized. You got to understand how you built your house in terms of what can you withstand in terms of criticism and adversity when it comes to you being a player and your resume? Not everyone built their house like Trevor Lawrence. That house is built of brick. 3 Little Pigs. I finally got it right, Acho. I know the 3 Little Pigs story. All right, so Trevor Lawrence is built of brick. Like when I came out, Orlando Pace house was built of brick. I don't care what y'all say. Good luck. He number 1 overall. The rest of us are like the other 2 Little Pigs. Sticks and straws, and don't let the wind blow too much, and don't let it get too intense and too focused, because our house might blow down or certainly wobble. That's all that's happening right now when you talk about Justin Fields. This happens every single draft. It's the poker face. I'm not just talking about those who gamble like Acho and lose all their money. I'm talking about like Lady Gaga poker face. I used to love that song. Anyway, all right, so there's a poker face, smoke signals. Hey, I got to throw you off my scent. Justin Fields, man, he ain't committed. We'll draft Justin Fields. You know how the game goes. That's how it is. But let's talk about this. Be real. He comes from a program that, let's just say, lacks in producing great quarterbacks in the NFL. That's already an issue. Be real about it. If you look at all the quarterbacks that have come out of there, only one of the last 5 has had a winning record. That's not good. Let's go beyond that. Let's talk about Justin Fields under pressure, because this is what happens. When you're at Ohio State, they like to term it JV versus varsity. Ohio State is the varsity. Most of these other teams are JV. But let's talk about him under pressure, and let's talk about him against ranked teams. That's where this criticism is actually justified. His completion percentage drops all the way down to 42%. Wow, from 70 to 42% when he's under pressure. That's 55th in the NCAA. How about passing yards? 66. Passer rating, 45th. It drops. Okay. I don't want to go too hard on the young man, but this is where the criticism comes from. He only threw 6 interceptions the entire year. All against ranked teams. Oh, so it's a little past that out there, is what they say. All I'm going to tell y'all is there's an Aaron Rodgers out there that was supposed to go number 1 overall, but that house wasn't made of brick. He fell to what, pick 24. I could keep going. There's a Dan Marino out there because of some allegations and issues that dropped as well, who had a talent level higher. It happens to all kinds of players, all types of talents. Randy Moss, Warren Sapp, wherever you want to go. It happens. It's the poker game or the poker face of the NFL draft.
But Sel, the guys who you gave us, the Randy Mosses, the Dan Marinos, there was actually a reason for their drop.
I said Aaron Rodgers.
Like, there was actually Aaron Rodgers, we were all baffled by that, as was Aaron Rodgers. But Justin Fields, there hasn't been the reason. We're conjuring up the reasons. We're conjuring up, he had off-the-field issues, so sources say. We're conjuring up the fact that, he can't read defenses. I also challenge, and everybody watching, look at Zach Wilson when he played Power 5 teams, and look at his stats when he didn't play Power 5 teams, if we want to assess Justin Fields. I just don't see. Everybody's getting criticized because criticism is the cost of praise. But when you talk about unfair criticism, Sel, that's when I start to read between the lines and say, wait a second now. Justin Fields hasn't really given us a reason to criticize him in the manner that he is getting criticized. And also, what colleges have actually produced great quarterbacks? Clemson prior to Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson. But before Deshaun Watson, who? Charlie Whitehurst? Taj Boyd? Like, what colleges have produced the great quarterbacks for us to say, like, wait a second, these colleges don't? BYU, I don't know, y'all tell me. North Dakota State, the guy you hate, Carson Wentz? So all these college quarterbacks that are coming out, ain't none of them really have a long lineage of greatness. Let's not use that against Justin Fields.
Oh, I'm going to use it.
Yeah, I mean, Marcellus, that's not fair because we want to scout the player, not the helmet. Imagine if I scouted you based on all of the great players that came out of Columbia. It wouldn't be a very long evaluation.
It happens.
And so it's not fair. It's not fair for us to put all that on Justin Fields. I think the big thing with Justin Fields is this. I think sometimes we get bored at greatness and we get bored at excellence. And because he had always been celebrated with Trevor Lawrence, we actually had a chance to see him for too long. It is easier to fall in love with the Johnny-come-latelys. Zach Wilson does it his final season at BYU. Mac Jones comes out of the pack to have an outstanding season for Alabama. And so because there's a shorter sample size, a smaller sample size, we're willing to bank on those performances being able to be continued at the next level. Whereas because we've seen Justin Fields, a guy who actually helped college football get back to playing in the Big Ten, and we don't talk about that leadership ability that he displayed during that time, because he's been on the stage for too long, we poke holes at his game. It reminds me very much of the Justin Herbert criticism. And I think much like Justin Herbert is celebrated, in a year we're going to celebrate Justin Fields and talk about why didn't we give him his flowers when we should have when he was coming out of college.
Well, I love it. But you know what? Life's not fair. So the NFL draft certainly not going to be fair. These are the breaks. And you brought me up. I'm going to bring me up too. Damn it, I love me some me. I remember there were articles going around, New York Times even. Marcellus Wiley may even go top 15. And then my boys like, you may go top 15. I said, boy, if you come over my house expecting me to go top 15, you boo-boo the fool. I am not going top 15. Why? Because I knew Columbia was going to come into account, obviously. And then my lack of competition. So it just happens that way. I remember when we drafted Drew Brees, and there were criticisms of him. That's why he dropped to the second round. Lack of arm strength, lack of athleticism, can't see over the offensive line. Justin Fields is going to have a chance to correct all the naysayers, but don't act like it's unfair to criticize Justin Fields. And one of the criticisms is, well, we don't know if he can make the quick decisions and move through his reads efficiently. And then Acho or others, everyone says, that's not fair. Well, the Big Ten championship game, y'all remember that? Everybody kept saying it. I think they even during the broadcast. Hey, that backside, those receivers and tight ends wide open. Can you see him on them curls and out routes? You're not reading that efficiently. And then obviously we saw him have the drops against ranked teams in terms of his numbers. That's all that's going on here, man. A little poker, man. If you can't enjoy a game like the NFL draft or like poker, then what can you enjoy in life? Coming up, Peter King thinks Philly wants Jalen Hurts to be great. Former Eagle Torrey Smith will help us answer what's at stake for Hurts. That's next on Speak Push Yourself.
Jalen Hurts is expected to be the Eagles starter next season, but rumors have been flying that Philly could try to trade up for a quarterback. Peter King thinks Hurts can be the long-term answer in Philly, saying, quote, I think the Eagles desperately want him to win this job. King said the Eagles want Hurts to be great so they can use their draft picks to build a great team. So, Marcellus, let's talk about the Eagles and a new quarterback in Jalen Hurts. New quarterback. What is at stake for Jalen Hurts next season?
I want to say it, and I'm going to say it. I hate to be absolute in this world, but let me do it. Everything. Seriously, in perception. And I don't believe this one as well. These are two statements I don't even believe in, but I'm going to do it. Perception is reality. Now, in the NFL, I think so. And who seconds that? Kurt Warner. And it's interesting reading about Kurt Warner and him talking about his roller coaster of a career that obviously was still an amazing Hall of Fame career. Let's talk about the grocery store clerk who all of a sudden becomes the NFL MVP with the greatest offense ever in St. Louis with the Rams, but then finds himself as a starter in the New York Football Giants, but then the backup, then he has to redeem himself. Arizona, everybody knows the story, right? But he talked about something and highlighted how perception, how difficult, nearly impossible it is to reclaim your career once they deem you not good enough as a starter. That's what's at stake for Jalen Hurts right now, man. The perception of, is he really a starter? And let's be real. You can't trust Philadelphia, this organization, with anything. Ask Carson Wentz. Ask Doug Peterson. Woo! And Jalen, you're going to a situation where if it doesn't work out, your first-year head coach and Nick Sirianni is going to be like, I ain't draft him. Don't put that on me. And I can just see it all falling apart right now. So Jalen Hurts is in a situation where he better not mess around and mess up because it's going to be a mess. And the scapegoat of all of that will land on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's real. Jalen Hurts, he has one shot. He got one shot in this year. Yeah. You played a quarter of the season last year. They gave you 4 starts. You went 1-3 as a starter. We all know you got yanked in that last start. We get that. So you get grace for that one. But we got to remember, man, like, the Eagles moved on from $130 million, 11-2 during the Super Bowl year, Carson Wentz, after one bad season.
You got to go.
That's all it took. One bad season, and the Eagles like, yeah, Carson, We know you've kind of led us to the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. We know you helped us get to the playoffs, and eventually we won a Super Bowl, first Super Bowl in league history in a year where our starting left tackle was hurt, our starting running back got hurt, our starting middle linebacker got hurt. We get all that, Carson, but one bad year, you got to go. Jalen, if they going to move on from Carson Wentz like that, bruh, trust what they can and will do to you. But furthermore, quarterbacks that don't get drafted in the first round, recently, the notable ones, by year 2, they've cemented themselves as starters. Russell Wilson, remember, he gets drafted in the 3rd round, cements himself year 1. Andy Dalton cements himself. Dak Prescott cemented himself. He didn't give the job back to Tony Romo. He never relinquished that. Derek Carr cemented himself. Going back to Colin Kaepernick, cemented himself. Even Nick Foles, because I was there. He took the job from Mike Vick. We ended up, we started 3-5. We ended up going 9-7, go 10-6, go to the playoffs. Even Foles cemented himself. So Jalen Hurts, you were the 5th quarterback selected in the draft. Reminding everyone Lamar Jackson was the 5th quarterback selected in his draft. By year 2, it's time for you to convince the world of what you are capable of. So as I see it, he got one shot to do the thing, and if he doesn't get it done, they will move on. Well, let's bring in a 2-time Super Bowl champion, former Eagle, my guy, Torrey Smith.
Yeah.
So, Torrey, you tell us, what's at stake for Jalen Hurts next season?
I agree with you guys. It's everything. You know, at the quarterback position, especially in Philadelphia with the new coaching staff, everything is on the line. You have to bring your A game. You know, and it's not really fair to him because typically when you draft a young quarterback, you want to groom him and he has time. That's just not the reality of it in Philadelphia right now. So the best case scenario, and I agree with Peter King, is for Jalen to go out there and do his thing. He showed flashes last year that he can be the guy. We know his leadership ability even before he stepped into the NFL. You know what he's capable of. I'm a huge fan of his game. I think he is the right guy for the job, but the pressure that are on his shoulders are huge. And to me, considering that he played at Alabama, he went to Oklahoma, he did his thing there, the pressure isn't something that you have to deal with him. But Philadelphia is in a situation right now, I don't want to say where they're rebuilding, but they're certainly retooling, and he's going to be in a position where he's going to have to help elevate and lift this young team, and I'm expecting him to have a big year, but it's really kind of all or nothing because if he doesn't, it's very easy for the new coaches to have to say, hey, this wasn't our guy.
Facts. Oh, man. Y'all taking me places right now. Y'all taking me to my childhood when I grew up. Listen to that Ice Cube, that poet. I love you so much. Woo, Ice Cube, I love you, bro. You helped raise me, man. He had a rule. Rule number 2, don't trust nobody. Now, I'm older now. That's incomplete. Don't trust nobody and nothing because this circumstance in Philadelphia is set up for him to be the scapegoat and to fail if he doesn't go out there and ball out, which is a tough task. Jameis Winston comes to mind. And Jameis Winston had a good career in Tampa Bay in terms of his production. Certainly did last year. 5,000 yards passing for that is not easy. We all know about the 30 interceptions as well. But Jameis Winston, forget sticks and straws. We were talking about the 3 little pigs. How about Section 8? That's what Jameis Winston found himself as a former #1 overall pick. Basically have to go to a situation and be the 3rd stringer. Jameis Winston. What you think they're going to do to a second round of Jalen Hurts that they ain't even draft? They just going to cast him away. They're going to be like, that's on him, not on us. I could bring up a lot of names. Forget who they are. Forget where they're drafted, big and small. Remember Jeff Garcia with the Browns, 2004? He gone. One and done. In and out. Culpepper, the Dolphins, 06. Remember he was doing this? He didn't do that long. Gone. Get him up out of here. Joey Harrington. Yeah, well, you should have been gone. Aaron Brooks, Brett Favre. Gotta go. Get out the Jets. Sam Bradford, Case Keenum, Joe Flacco, 2019 Broncos. Who even remembers that? The point is, Jalen Hurts, there are people greater than you that have had worse fate than you in terms of if you don't produce, they're going to get you out of there. And that's a sad situation, but it's reality.
I think the other thing is, Sal, in the Eagles' mind, and Torrey, you know this, you play for the Eagles, I play for the Eagles. I think they believe they're giving Jalen Hurts everything he needs to succeed. They're like, look, we got Carson Wentz up out of here. We got your quarterback coach you know from growing up in Pee Wee and middle school football. We brought in a backup quarterback that's not going to challenge you as a starter in Joe Flacco. He's just going to sit back there and chill, but he's won a Super Bowl. We're going to get you help in the draft at that number 12 overall pick. Probably going to draft your receiver. We got a first-round receiver for you from last year. You still got 2 top-flight tight ends, even though Zach Ertz might end up being moved or shipped off somewhere. So in the Eagles' mindset, they're like, wait a second. Jalen Hurts, we've given you everything and put you in a position to succeed. If you still don't succeed, you just can't succeed. And I think that's the other reason why everything's at stake. Because the Eagles are going to be looking like, look, we can't set you up no better. We've set you up. Go fly. And if you don't, it's time for you to get up out of here.
I mean, Howie picked them in the second round. So I think that does show that they have faith in his ability and his talent. But we all know right now, to say that this team is ready to go and compete for the Super Bowl right now, offensively, that may be a little premature to say. So I don't know if they believe all the way, especially pre-draft, that this offense is where it needs to be. But it certainly could get there in the future. And for him, all he needs to do is show enough potential that he can be the guy to lead this team. And last year, he went out there and he made some big-time throws. And for a young guy, if he was in any other situation, if he was drafted higher, I think for that short sample size, you would feel okay with some of the flashes that you saw going forward. So having an offseason, and I wish he had that physical offseason. However, we know that's not going to be the case. For him just simply being comfortable in year two, going in, not necessarily looking over his shoulder, but Joe Flacco isn't going to sit back and chill. He's going to feel that pressure. It's going to be for him to go out there and perform. And I know the way he's been working this offseason, by seeing videos, by talking to some of the other receivers and the way they feel about him, he's going to have a locker room that for sure has his back, which means a lot as you're heading forward, especially as a young guy.
Yeah, the Eagles' offense looked much better with him than it did Carson Wentz. Same offense, but it just looked different. Points per game went up, yardage per game, rushing yards per game, everything. So you got to give him respect. And he did some historical things in terms of being a rookie since the merger. He's number 3 all time in terms of combined yardage per game, only behind Deshaun Watson and Justin Herbert. Some beast as a rookie. So you got to respect everything about him. Number 2 offense in his 3 starts last year, 437 yards per game. Go ahead, Jalen Hurts. I'm rooting for you. But I'm not sure everybody in that building is. Coming up, Sean McVay says it's not fun to play in the NFC West. We'll tell you if the division is the best in the NFL. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Like me some Tory Smith. Let's head to the NFC West. We're already here, where there's been a lot going on this offseason. Sean McVay's Rams have a new quarterback in Matthew Stafford. Seattle has ongoing Russell Wilson drama, but they still made some moves. Kyle Shanahan's 49ers have the 3rd pick in the draft, and the Cardinals made big moves, including signing J.J. Watt. What's up? McVay is not a fan of the division, saying, no, it's not fun. It's really not a fun pool. It's a pool I wouldn't mind not being in. To be honest with you, it sure makes it fun for you to say, hey, how's it swimming in the deep end 6 times a year, Sean? Tori is back with us, but Acho, is NFC West side the best division in football, homeboy?
Man, they are, and I'm not really sure that is close. The only one who might challenge is the AFC North, where the Steelers and the Ravens are at, but I'm not going to get to that point just yet. NFC West, they got a Super Bowl contender in the Rams or the Seahawks or the Niners. Pick whoever you want the favorite to be. I'm going to call it the Rams. So when you look at the top of the division, they're as good as the top of any other division. The Buccaneers are the top of their division. The Packers are the top of their division. We don't have to talk about the NFC East with the Cowboys and them. But then it's not about how good is your best, because you're only strong as your weakest link. Oh, when I talk about who's the worst team in that division, the Arizona Cardinals. They was knocking on the door of the playoffs. Mind you, the Arizona Cardinals, the worst team in the NFC West, would probably easily win the NFC East, where the Eagles reside, where the Cowboys and the Giants and Washington reside. So you're telling me the worst team in a division could probably go on and win a division. But I think the most mind-blowing or glaring statistic, which makes me rock with Sean McVay, because the NFC West is terrifying. Worst quarterback in the NFC West, if you ask anybody besides Marcellus Wiley, is Jimmy G. That's the worst quarterback in the NFC West.
Hate.
And the worst quarterback in the NFC West is tied for 6th historically as far as best winning percentage through 30-plus starts. So the worst quarterback in the division is actually historically good winning percentage-wise through 30-plus starts. You ain't got to look no further. Quarterbacks drive teams, and teams dictate divisions. NFC West is tough to play in that one.
I mean, Acho, what do you even say to add to that, man? That's a give you a round of applause for that one. That's the real deal. I was sitting there trying to figure out which team would it be, the NFC West or the AFC North. And I was like, wait, well, the AFC North still has the Cincinnati Bengals,
Correct.
so it's not them. The NFC West, they're ready to go. They have playoff teams all across the boards, teams that could contend in any division out there, and they have 3 quarterbacks that are on that tier of elite or right there. So that's really a huge difference maker. And so when I was trying to sit there myself, thinking about like, all right, well, who's the favorite? I don't know, because there isn't a quarterback that necessarily gives you the edge because the other team is strong on the defensive side of the ball. And so you bring Matthew Stafford over, and he completely changes the ball game there. And we'll see what happens with Russell Wilson and how happy he is and how they decide to protect him. But you can't go wrong with who you pick. It's a very competitive division, and it's something that's going to be fun to watch play out. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if they have 3, maybe even 4 sneak into the playoffs.
Man, what the hell? Round of applause for that. Y'all are off. Man, first, no, it's not the best division in football, but that's the boring part. Don't let that get in the way of the good story. Sean McVay over here.
I can't wait for this.
Overcooking narrative now. I love me some Sean McVay. But Sean McVay over here trying to give y'all one of these. That 3-card money. Look at it, where the ball, where the card is.
So who the best division, Sal?
I already said I don't want to go there
Go
first.
there.
That's the boring part.
You have to go there.
That's the only part that matters, Tori. That's the only part.
This is a classic cover bet to skew the narrative. This is what's going on. Hey, look how hard my division is. I'm Sean McVay. Because if we beat everybody in our division, we make the playoffs, we ball out against them, look how we conquered those Goliaths. But if we falter in this same division, I told you guys how tough this division was.
Football.
That's why Jared Goff is out of here. Let me tell you who the best division.
Thank you.
You ready for this?
Yes.
Come on, man. It's simple. It's AFC North. We already know it. The only division that had 3 teams that had double-digit wins. Okay, you want to say it's the NFC West. Why? Give it to me. If they don't even have better teams, you can say, oh, I'm projecting. Well, the best example of future behavior is past behavior. Last time I checked, this division hasn't even won a Super Bowl since 2013. And before that, 1999. Y2K, Prince. What the hell y'all talking about? This division is just neatly packed. It doesn't have higher highs. It doesn't have higher highs than my division, AFC North. And it doesn't have lower lows than my AFC North because of the injury to Joe Burrow. But all things considered, name another division that has 3 teams with double digits.
Sal, you like to argue. Tori, don't take it personally, Tori. He likes to argue. Marcellus Wiley.
I like to be right. I like to argue.
The NFC West has all 4 teams, not even 3. Let's start with all 4. All 4 teams have gone to the NFC championship game since Russell Wilson got into the league. All 4 of them. Now, Marcellus Wiley.
And they did, Jack.
3 of the 4 teams have gone to the Super Bowl in the last 8 years in the NFC West. Marcellus Wiley, let's just talk quarterbacks. I'm not even going to play to your emotions because I know you love Jimmy G. I'm not going to go there. Russell Wilson or Lamar Jackson? Who you like?
Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
I can trust him. He's a leader.
Jimmy G or Ben Roethlisberger? Who you like?
Jimmy G.
Okay.
He going to play longer.
Great. Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield. Who you like? Matthew Stafford or Baker Mayfield? Who do you like, sir?
Go to commercial. You know I ain't going to say nothing good about Baker Mayfield
Kyler Murray
right
or Joe Burrow? Mind you, Joe Burrow coming off an ACL injury. Kyler Murray or Joe Burrow coming off an ACL injury? That's tight. One is coming off an ACL injury. Thank you, exactly.
Tom Brady was coming off ACL before, too.
3 of the better quarterbacks in the division are in the NFC West. You just be up here talking the talk. I'm convinced you didn't even believe that take. Somebody paid you to get that take, but it wasn't Fox, so they don't pay you for that kind of nonsense. Go ahead, Tori.
I mean, it's not too bad. I can understand how you can go there. I can understand how you can go there. But no, they have 4 strong teams. The Bengals are at the bottom of the barrel in a strong division. The Baltimore Ravens, they're going to bring it each and every year. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I forget how they finished the season. They won 11. They won 11 straight. That's hard to do on Madden. So forget doing it in real life. That's a very strong team as well. So when you go and you think about the Browns, who are coming on strong and only continuing to get better, that is a strong division. But out west, you have no clue who's going to win it.
Thank you.
You just don't. I can look at the AFC North right now and tell you that Baltimore is still the best team in that division. Cleveland's coming on strong, but they're just not there yet. In the AFC West, the NFC West, I simply can't tell you that.
Look, Seattle still has question marks. They have a new offensive coordinator. Russell can't cook in the second half of the season. And we don't know if they're going to get over the hump. Just be real. Arizona, you started fast. You fell off at the end. We don't know if you're going to get better. Question mark. Who else y'all want to talk about? The Rams and their starting quarterback who has never won a playoff game? Okay, I could give you warts. And what's the other team? Give me another one in that division. The 49ers? They're going to draft a rookie at number 3 and not address all the needs that they have all around when they already got Jimmy GQ. Where are y'all getting it from versus the Baltimore Ravens? I'm talking about, and they ain't even winning the division. We're talking about 11-win teams. Pittsburgh.
You don't believe this, Tori.
Come on, man. Cleveland. I thought Acho loved him from Cleveland. That's for him.
He just talking.
All things considered, man, I see too many question marks over here on the west side. Coming up, I converted Tori. I converted him. Steph Curry was busy making unbelievable shots over the weekend. I'll tell you if his latest stretch is the best we've ever seen from him. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Admit it, Tori, you're on my side now.
Steph Curry drops 47 points, including an unbelievable off-balance shot in Saturday's loss to the Celtics. Steph has been on fire, matching Kobe Bryant with 10 straight games, scoring 30 or more points at the age of 33 or older. Steph said, statistically, this is the best stretch of his career, and he's playing with, quote, supreme confidence. So, Marcellus Wiley, is this the best we've ever seen from Steph?
No. It's not the best we've ever seen from Steph Curry. One, you can't grade him properly in this moment right now because the rest of the league just not that interesting or that healthy. So all the other stars not shining. What's this line right here I got written down? Curry is playing great, but it shines so bright against a starless sky. Ooh! Whoever wrote that, I don't know. I ain't write that. It's plagiarism. No LeBron. No KD. Kawhi, you know what we do. We load manage around here. KD in and out, Kyrie all over the place, Harden. Like, dog, where the dudes at? Luka crying. Zion want to be in Madison Square Garden. Devin Booker. All right, Chris Paul, I know you about to retire. You could take over. Like, LaMelo, he hurt. He looked fresh on that sideline, though, with the little tight chains. Keep it going, LaMelo. All that said, this is not Steph Curry's apex. And this is not his first time being at this same place. And the path is easier when you know your way up because it's your second time around or more so for Steph. Where are the accolades? Is this team going to win a championship? Nope. Is he going to win MVP? Nope. So you're going up a paved path that you paved already and now supposed to be overly impressed? No, it's amazing that you're still Steph Curry the Great. But this ain't the best we've ever seen from Steph.
Sal, I think it might be, though, because statistically, he's scoring more points than he's ever scored. He's making just as many three-pointers a game as he's ever made at 5.1. He's shooting from the field just as great as he's ever shot. Free throw percentage just as good, if not better than it's ever been. So statistically speaking, Steph Curry's balling. I like your sun analogy because there aren't any stars currently shining. But even during the daytime, when you walk outside and you look up and you see the sun, you don't see the other stars, but it's just that bright that it's just as noticeable.
So he's the sun?
At this junction in time,
son. He's not the sun, son.
39 points a game the last 10 games. 6 boards a game the last 10 games. 5 assists a game the last 10 games.
10 games.
As it stands right now, at least in this small incubated sample size, dude giving you 46 and 5, that's definitely sun-like as far as stars shining bright. Even if Bron was playing, Lakers would be winning, but Bron wouldn't be doing that for you. Even if KD was actually healthy, he wouldn't be doing that for you. So is he the sun right now? Yeah, is this the best
He's the sun?
Yeah.
10 games, huh? That sounds like a little 10 games. 6 of the 10 teams he's played in these 10 games, bottom half of the defensive rating. 10 games, huh? 5 of the opponents are among the worst 9 teams in the NBA. 10 games, huh? Boy, stop. Steph Curry used to do this in the finals, in the playoffs, when it mattered. Like, I've seen this before, and it's amazing. And, yeah, it's good because I will say this. Without Clay there, without other focal points, you know how other teams are looking at the Golden State Warriors. Stop Steph, we got a W. They can't even stop Steph knowing that. But these some sorry-ass teams he's going against right now, so I can't give him the props because I got to measure him against the resistance.
But, Thel, he's doing this. You said it before. What? When he had KD out there, when he had Clay out there, when he had an offensively competent Draymond out there, that's a bunch of different guys to guard against.
You cannot go past that line. That's almost as good as triple single. Say it again. Offensively
competent. When he had an offensively competent Draymond out there, it was other people to defend. Bro, Steph Curry is literally getting double-teamed the second he crosses half court. Did y'all see that last game which they most recently lost? It was about, 15, 20 seconds left. I think they're down by 4. He pulls up from 3 the second he crosses half court because he's like, let me pull up before the double team arrives. That's the way Steph Curry's currently playing the game, and he's still putting up these numbers. I don't think we've seen this Steph before.
Yeah.
We've seen some crazy versions of Steph, but even when he was unanimous MVP, he averaged 35 and 6. He's currently averaging 31, 6, and 5. There's really no difference. This is unanimous MVP statistically, Steph, without the wins.
Yeah, but it's not the same competition. Like, that's over the entire season sample size. This is over the 5 of the worst teams in the NBA.
No, I'm giving you the year.
Yeah.
The year is 31, 6, and 5.
Okay.
The last 10 games is 39, 6, and 5. Like he's still going crazy.
But he's going crazy before when they were trying to go crazy against him, and he got more out of that craziness. So it's like, okay, I did the same thing, maybe a little better, but I'm not going to get anything out of it, so I'd rather do a little worse and get more from it. Let's go Beverly Hills adjacent. Let's go to your house. Condo, townhouse, apartment, Section 8. What you doing? What you doing in Beverly Hills adjacent? Anyway, we there. Damn, can I get in? Can I fit it? So I can't run in your front door. I'm going to hit the back door. It's so small. Anyway, I'm in your little spot. I'm looking around, looking at old pictures. This is the kind of dude you are. You get rid of your ex's pictures. I know you. As soon as you meet a new girl, oh, these got to go. These got to go. Then you meet the next girl. Oh, she got to go. Cool, too. Look around at old Steph Curry pictures. Don't get rid of them, big dog. Steph Curry, 2015. Steph Curry Steph Curry used to do this against no matter who you threw in front of him. Not just the bottom feeding of the NBA, not just against the lowliest of low teams. Steph Curry's done this before, so why are you giving it so much prop? Pick the pictures up. Look at old Steph Curry. He's still there.
Because what I'm not going to do is this, though. I'm not going to punish Steph Curry because the rest of his teammates are letting him down. Because we praised Steph Curry when the rest of his teammates were not letting him down. Steph Curry is the same Steph Curry. If statistically speaking, he is just as great, if not greater, than when he was the unanimous MVP. Not just the MVP, but everybody said he was the MVP. Then how are we now going to look at this stuff and be like, I mean, yeah, but we've seen this stuff before. One, we ain't seen this stuff in 6 years. That's first things first. Like, we ain't seen him since he was 27, literally in his physical prime. But two, he's better than he's ever been. The fact of the matter is, he ain't got no dogs riding with him. So I can't look at this Steph and scoff at this Steph. I look at this Steph and I say, hey, as great as you've been, you're actually even better now.
No dogs, you said no dogs riding with him? No dogs attacking him either. 465 win percentage combined for those 10 teams you keep talking about. So let me audition for my next role since you want to be on The Bachelor and all that. This is how I'm going to do with my teas right here. And even though the greatest gift is the present, he's opened bigger and better gifts in the past. Coming up, will Kyle Shanahan be making a mistake? You think I'm going to get it wrong? If he passes on Justin Fields with the number 3 pick. We'll answer that next on Speak For Yourself. Caught up in a moment, dog. Let's talk. 49ers had a front row seat for Justin Fields' second pro day last week. But a report says, quote, Fields is not going to go number 3. Wow. And added, if it's not Mac Jones, it's Trey Lance. Speaking of Lance, this pro day was today, and Kyle Shanahan was there. So, Acho, Shanahan be making a mistake passing on Justin Fields.
Huge mistake, man. I feel like Justin Fields is a quarterback that Kyle Shanahan deserves, and he's a quarterback that we deserve to see with Kyle Shanahan. Man, Justin Fields has everything you could want. You got a guy who has a huge arm. Again, I told y'all, 41 passing touchdowns, just 1 interception going into the championship game against Clemson 2 years ago. So he has the huge arm. He's a 4.4 running quarterback, fastest quarterback to enter the league since Mike Vick, obviously since Robert Griffin. Remember, Lamar Jackson did not run the 40 during his pro day during the combine display. Justin Fields also played at a big-time program under a former NFL offensive mind in Ryan Day. Ryan Day was a quarterback coach when Chip Kelly was a head coach in Philadelphia with me. So I know Ryan Day, know how he runs his programs, know how he runs his offenses. So Kyle Shanahan, you've wanted a quarterback who can do several things. You had Matt Ryan, he was a pocket passer. You had Robert Griffin, he was elusive with his legs, but he couldn't stay healthy. Now you got Justin Fields, who's seemingly the best of all the worlds. He can run like Robert Griffin could run, but he seems like he can stay healthy and play through the pain. Remember, he played the whole year with a knee brace on after messing up his MCL. He can throw the ball from the pocket. What else could you want? What else could you do with anybody else besides Justin Fields?
Oh, man. I hate to be the guy that goes against the grain, but no mistake made if you don't get Justin Fields. Only mistake would be not focusing in on who's the coach that's trying to draft Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or Mac Jones, and Kyle Shanahan. Look, the answer is right under your nose. It's Jimmy G. Don't draft any of these guys. What the hell are we doing here? And I don't want to overthink this or over-evaluate it. Sounds like you want to, so I'll let you talk. But Kyle is swinging for the fences right now simply because he knows his job is on the line. And you know people who go up to the plate want to swing for the fences.
They hit home runs.
They hit home runs, but they hit twice as many strikeouts. Oh, they don't even hit it. Oh, it just went by him. As Barry Bonds, 762 home runs, 1,500 plus strikeouts. Oh, no matter even if you're the greatest, you're going to strike out more than you hit home runs. Uh-oh, you didn't expect that comeback. Let's talk about this coach. 49ers finished last in division twice, third once in the 4 seasons. 3 losing seasons out of 4, Kyle Shanahan. But him and Justin Fields going to do something special? Why? Because they've been bottom half of the league in points per game in 3 of his 4 seasons. But the only one that they weren't, oh my God, Jimmy GQ. Y'all don't make the playoffs. Y'all don't make the playoffs. Y'all don't make the playoffs. Y'all go to the Super Bowl. One thing changed. Jimmy G, full-time starter the entire year. Jimmy G's team. So when you talk about Kyle Shanahan and Justin Fields, and that's what we want to see, what the hell is that? An unknown who's coming from the collegiate level, and a known that is not shown much with any other quarterback outside of Jimmy G.
The greatest player in the NFL right now, not named Aaron Donald, you said is Patrick Mahomes. Kurt Warner, you said, led the most prolific offense since the turn of the century. And Andrew Luck, supposed to be the most highly touted quarterback prior to Trevor Lawrence, maybe the second most highly touted quarterback ever to come out of college. I just said those three names. Now, Jimmy G has been hurt, and we know that. So who has been the primary starter for the 49ers besides Jimmy G? A man by the name of Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Good, right?
I don't know.
But
Saint Nick.
in Nick Mullins' first 16 starts, he trails only Patrick Mahomes in passing yards in NFL history.
I thought you didn't like yards.
Above Andrew Luck and above Kurt Warner. So maybe Kyle Shanahan has still been whispering to his quarterbacks. Maybe his team defensively, we know all the injuries they suffered. Marcellus Wiley, as I look at you in your heart and your soul. Maybe Kyle Shanahan and his quarterbacks are actually not as bad as you think. Maybe if you gave him Justin Fields, like you gave him Matt Ryan or Matt Schaub or Robert Griffin, and he made excellence out of all of those people, at least for a period of time. How he has even Nick Mullins above Andrew Kurt Warner and behind only Patrick Mahomes through 16 starts. Maybe, just maybe, he would make magic with Justin Fields.
Oh, really? Now Nick Mullins is your comp. Boy, you low. You really went low. Shanahan been an offensive coordinator and head coach for 13 years, right? He's only had a top 10 scoring offense in 4 of those 13. 31% if you want to do some math real fast. I thought you were a guru, a whisperer. Shut up. You don't need to say anything. So he's just creating a distraction right now. So we don't focus in on those inadequacies. It's all good. Go grasp Justin Fields. Justin Fields, beware. You may not be going where you think you should be going. Coming up, Kevin Durant left an all-star off of his all-time favorite teammates list. Was it Harden? Was it Russ? Was it Steph? We'll tell you who got snubbed. That's next on Speak For Yourself. Watch out.
Kevin Durant has played with several All-Stars in his career, but he was recently asked to list the top 5 players he's ever played with. Y'all take a listen.
Kyrie. James.
Who?
James.
James.
Harden. Steph. Clay. I'm gonna go Serge Ibaka.
To me, I thought you was going to say, I ain't even going.
Who?
South Central LA, Russell.
Oh, damn, I am tripping. Russ, yeah, I'm tripping.
So, Marcellus, is KD throwing shade at Russ?
No, he's not throwing shade. Take your nosy butts home. I know y'all want to see some crime right now. Y'all want to see some slights. This is nothing. KD's played on too many teams with too many ballers with too many names. Oh, see, I knew you were going to go there, Acho. Forget where you're from.
I'm already there.
Let's play the team photo game. Remember you used to be on your team and somebody would grab you a team picture. They're like, hey, who's number 54? You'd be like, oh, yeah. That's how he feels in this moment. KD is not used to being in this place where you got to recall all this. I'm with you, KD.
Major shade, Sel. Here's how we know it's shade, Sel.
Why?
You don't forget about your first marriage, especially if it ended in a very, very, very public divorce. I don't care how many times you've been engaged for. I don't care what happens. You do not forget about that first marriage, even if it ends, and especially if it ends in a public divorce.
Really?
KD and Russ, where they was married first on the court before KD and Steph, before KD and Clay, before KD and Harden, it was KD and Russ and Harden, if anything. He ain't forget about Russell Westbrook unintentionally.
Who said that they were married? Maybe it was just friends with benefits. I don't know. Maybe it's like you, Acho. You don't know everybody on this production staff. You struggled during Christmas card season. You didn't know anybody's name. Texting me, who that? Shut up, big dog. I don't know all my co-hosts. They all dead. And you better watch yourself, homeboy. I got good aim. You got to go. Fox Bet Live next.